Hello and welcome all in this video. So we are going to discuss about the nervous system of the prawn. So here we will discuss about the nervous system of the prawn. So overall nervous system of the prawn can be divisible into three parts: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system and sympathetic nervous system. In the central nervous system, they are having the brain and ventral nerve cord, and second part peripheral nervous system, and there is having the nerves and the sympathetic nervous system, which is also called as autonomic nervous system or the visceral nervous system. So let us see by the first part of the nervous system of the prawn, that is having a brain or the supraesophageal ganglia. This brain of the prawn is also called as supraesophageal ganglia. This supraesophageal ganglia or the brain lies at the base of the rostrum anterior to the esophagus. This brain lies at the base of the rostrum and anterior to the esophagus, and this brain is surrounded by thick mass of fat. It is a bilobal structure and derived by the fusion of several ganglia. From this brain, some of the nerves are arises, that is, an antennular nerve arises from the brain and which goes towards the antennule. This nerve, which is called as antennular nerve, arises directly from the brain and which goes towards the antennule. And there is having a single branch of this antennule that is called as statostic nerve, and this statostic nerve is a branch of antennular nerve, and this statostic nerve branch of the antennule having the connection with the statocyst organ of the prawn. Then there is having a stout nerve which is called as optic nerve. This optic nerves having the connection with the compound eye. Optic nerves which innervate to the compound eye. Also having a branch which arises from the brain, that is called as ophthalmic nerve. This ophthalmic nerve also having the connection with the muscles of the eye stalk. Muscles of the eye stalk, there is having connected with the muscles of the eye stalk, there is having also a nerve that is called as ophthalmic nerve. Again there is a branch that is called as antennular nerve. This antennular nerves is a pair of the nerves which arises from the brain of the prawn, and this antennular nerves having the connection with the antenna. And also a fifth nerve which arises directly from the brain, that is called as the tegmental nerve, and which is having the connection with the labrum. So basically from the brain 5 pairs of nerves arises, that is antennular nerves to the antennule, optic nerves to the compound eye, ophthalmic nerve to the muscles of the eye stalk, antennular nerve to the antenna, and tegmental nerve to the labrum. This was the first part of the nervous system of the prawn. Second part, which is called as circumesophageal commissure. So the posterior to the brain, this circumesophageal commissure is found in the prawn, which encircle the esophagus, so called as circumesophageal commissure. These run backwards and downwards and encircle the esophagus and united ventrally. Two branches of the circumesophageal commissures two branches are connected posteriorly and forming a large mass of the nerve or the ganglia, that is called as ventral thoracic ganglionic mass. So in case of this circumesophageal commissure, each commissure bears a ganglia that is called as commissural ganglia. From this commissure there is having a pair of ganglia, and this ganglia is called as commissural ganglia. This commissural ganglia near its anterior ends sends two small nerves that is called as mandibular nerves. So from the posterior side of this circumesophageal commissure there is having a pair of nerve that is called as mandibular nerves to mandible of its sides. Then both the commissures, both esophageal commissures are connected together by a transverse commissure that is a transverse commissure. This transverse commissure connects two branches of this circumesophageal commissures. Two branches of the circumesophageal commissures can be connected by a transverse commissures. This was about the second part of the nervous system of the prawn. Third part, called as ventral thoracic ganglionic mass. This is the large mass which is found at in the cephalothorax region towards the ventral side. So this ventral thoracic ganglionic mass lying mid-ventrally on the floor of the cephalothorax, and it is from that particular ventral thoracic ganglionic mass totally 11 pairs of nerves are arises. From that ventral thoracic ganglionic mass totally 11 pairs of nerves are arises. 11 pairs of nerves are innervated, or 11 pairs of nerves are arises from ventral thoracic ganglionic mass. Out of that 11 pairs, first three pairs of the nerves are called as cephalic nerves, and these cephalic nerves having the types, that is first mandibular nerve, second maxillary nerve, and third maxillary nerve. So these three nerves are called as cephalic nerves, and remaining 8 nerves, out of that 8 nerves, again first 3 nerves are called as nerves to maxillary pairs. This nerves to maxillary pairs supplies 3 pairs to the maxillary pairs, and again remaining 5 pairs of the nerves of ventral thoracic ganglionic mass, that is called as nerves to walking legs. So this remaining 5 pairs supply the 5 pairs of walking legs, but before reaching the legs, these nerves are bifurcates. All the 5 nerves to walking legs, each nerves of the legs becomes bifurcates before entering the legs. This is about the third part of nervous system, that is the ventral thoracic ganglionic mass. Now the fourth part. From that ventral thoracic ganglionic mass, a stout cord is arises, that is called as ventral cord. From this ventral thoracic ganglionic mass, a cord is arises, that is called as ventral nerve cord. Ventral nerve cord. This from the ventral thoracic ganglionic mass gives off a stout nerve cord, that is called as ventral nerve cord, or also called as abdomen nerve cord, and it runs along the mid-ventral line of the abdomen, and to that ventral nerve cord totally 6 ganglia are arises. On that ventral nerve cord 6 ganglia are arises. Out of that, first 5 are smaller compared to the sixth one. From the each of the first 5 abdominal ganglia gives 3 pairs of nerves. From the first fifth abdominal ganglionic mass or abdominal ganglion, some 3 pairs of nerves are arises. That is, first pair goes to the pedal nerve, to the pleopods, second pair to the nerve, to the extensor muscle, third pair to the flexor muscle. So from the first 5 pairs of abdominal ganglia, totally 3 pairs of nerves arises. First pair goes to the pedal nerve, second to the pleopod, second nerves to the extensor muscle, third pair is called as nerves to flexor muscles. And from the last or the sixth abdominal ganglia, some nerves arises. Out of that, first 2 goes to the flexor muscles, so called as nerves to the flexor muscles. Again 2, that is nerves to the uropods. Again they are having 2 nerves to the telson, and a single median nerve goes to the hindgut. From this sixth abdominal ganglia, which is the larger compared to the another 5 abdominal ganglia, sixth is the very larger and arises some nerves like nerves to the flexure muscles, nerves to the uropores, nerves to the tail sun, nerves to the single nerve to the hindgut. Now about the last part of the nervous system, that is the sympathetic nervous system or the visceral nervous system or the autonomic nervous system. This sympathetic nervous system or autonomic nervous system comprises few ganglia and nerves. There is a small nerve arising mid posteriorly from the brain and bears 2 ganglia, that is called as visceral ganglia. From the these visceral ganglia arises to the posterior side of the brain, and this can lying behind the each other, that is first ganglia and this one second ganglia, which is called as visceral ganglia, which is found towards the posterior side of the brain. And from that ganglia, this ganglia, visceral ganglia, connected with the brain with the help of a connection that is called as visceral connective. With the help of the visceral connective, visceral ganglia connect with the brain. From the second ganglia, here 2 nerves are arises, and that is called as nerves to esophagus and cardiac muscles. So second ganglia gives off 2 pairs of nerves to the walls of the esophagus and to the cardiac stomach. So this is all about the nervous system of the prawn. Once again, thank you for watching this video.